The Habs beat the Predators 6-3 last night in a mostly well-played game by the home team. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. Yeah, so the Montreal Canadiens played a good game last night, which is like a rarity these days. They've only got 5 wins in their last the season. 5-13-2 is their record, and has been mostly we're suffering watching this team this year. So I thought I don't really do a lot of reviews anymore, but since the wins are coming in so infrequently, I thought I would review this game. It was well played for the most part. There was maybe a letdown in the third period, aided a little bit by the bad reffing, a couple of bad calls in my opinion. So I got the highlights from the goals. I have the stats of the game, and I have some thoughts on the game, plus a little rant against the refs, and that's all coming to you right now. Let's get into the stats for this game. So the game was pretty good for Montreal. Shots on goal, Predators had 36, Montreal had 29. In the face-off circle, Montreal 57%, so it was a good night in the face-off circle for Montreal. 43% for the Predators. Power plays, Preds were 2 for 3. Montreal's PK, not great last night, giving up 2 out of the 3 opportunities. Their PK has been a problem all season so far, and continuing to be so. On the power play for Montreal, they were 1 for 2. Good to see them get a goal, maybe up their percentage a little bit. Their power play has not been great. They were out-hit 37-22. This is something that Montreal in the playoffs last year, when they did so well, if you remember, they were out hitting the teams way more often than not. And is this a problem this year? And lack of some physical play? It's definitely not the same team, physicality-wise for sure, than last season in the playoffs. So, yeah, they got to start being a little more physical. For goals, this is how they scored them. Predators had 3 goals in the third period when they were down 5-0. Montreal 1 in the first, 4 in the second, a good second period. Not a usual thing for Montreal. And then they had the empty net goal in the third for their 6 total. So the first goal went like this. Arturi Lehkonen led off the scoring. It was assisted by Savard and by Jake Evans. That was 2:41 into the first. So it was a nice early goal, setting up what turned out to be a pretty good game for Montreal. Here's the goal if you want to take a look at it.
Up on the play tight, keeping the gap tight. He goes down to Evans, right across to Lehkonen.
Subscribe and ring that notifications bell. And hey, give a thumbs up. In the second period, Christian Dvorak with another early period goal, 1:06 into the second. He gets his third from Anderson and from Drouin. And take a look here. This is on it's a nice one-timer from right in close at the side of the net.
It's an opportunity for Anderson. Anderson waits. To the side of the net, and they score, Dvorak.
That's a typical Dvorak goal. One-timer like that, really in close somewhere on a good pass. And he's got to start doing that a little more often. That would be great. Next goal was Brendan Gallagher, his 4th of the season, from Drouin and Toffoli at 3:32 of the second. That was a power play goal. And that looked like this.
There's a quick shot.
A nice little deflection, tip-in, deflection, redirected. I think that was redirection. So a redirected puck by Gallagher right there in the crease. And, Gallagher gets his 4th. Montreal up 3-0 and just looking all Montreal all the time. Ryan Poehling gets the first of his 2 goals. It turns out to be the game winner, and it's his second goal from Wideman and from Lehkonen. 9:31 in the second period, and this is what that one looks like.
Right now. Stepping in, score!
Ryan Poehling, he gets his second goal, his 3rd of the season, and that's just 37 seconds later to put Montreal up by 5, and that's going to look like this.
As far as Nashville's concerned, nice little saucer.
Awesome. Really good work by Ryan Poehling tonight. He's got 3 goals in his 6 games back with the team. Ryan Poehling looks like he is ready. for the NHL. So a little bit of patience with him over the last 2 seasons, and I think the guy is finally ready, and I think he might be here to stay.
We want you to become a member of Talking Habs.
Third period comes around, and things go for a bit of a change. We've got the refs calling some penalties on Montreal. The first one here was, I think, was a legitimate penalty. It was a hooking call. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure who it is. Against, and Matt Duchene gets his 10th goal from Yossi and Johansson at 6:36. Like I said, power play. About 6 minutes later, he gets his 11th, just over 6 minutes later, from Granlund and Tolvanen. This is on a power play goal. This I think was I call it a bullshit penalty on Lehkonen. He gets a holding call after going into the boards. I didn't see any holding, and he ends up coming out with a bloody mouth. I'm not sure from what, if it was a high stick or something else, and he gets the penalty. And so Duchene scores pretty quickly, I believe, on the power play there, and then he gets his 12th goal. Another about 3.5 minutes later, from Johansson and Granlund, and in total, I think it was like 9 minutes 30 something, 31, 37 for all 3 goals. And here you go. This is what they look like.
Coming right up the middle, the shot, they score by Duchene, and you see Duchene stop, saved by Montembeault, rebound, they score.
So you can see, I mean, Habs they had a letdown in that third period. So there was no doubt they had a letdown. That was where their big defensive lapse, I thought, came about, and they were running around a bit there. And it led to those goals. I thought the first power play was legit, but yeah, it seemed like we'll talk about the refs. And then there was the Toffoli empty net goal with at 18:30 of the third, so a minute and a half left. Toffoli gets the empty net. Let's see who he gets it from. Just from Armia, and that one looked like a bit.
Suzuki, Toffoli, into the empty net.
Sealed the deal with a minute and a half to go, because Nashville had gotten close to 5-3, so within 2 goals. There was 3 minutes, a little over 3 minutes left. And, it was possible for them to come back and tie it the way they were starting to score. So it was good to see Toffoli put that one in for insurance, and it shut everything down. That was the scoring. What other stats do I have from the game? Goalie stats. Montembeault was 33 of 36 shots, so he was really good numbers with a .917 save percentage. Saros for the Preds was 14 of 19 with a .737 save percentage. Not very good. He was in for the first and second period. Riddick came in the third, and he gave up nothing. He was 9 for 9, so that's an even 1,000. And there was an empty netter in the third, so that's not on Riddick, obviously. And that happens a lot, doesn't it? Teams outscoring the other one like that, shutting them out. Third period comes around, they change goalies, and the goalie, or whatever point when they change goalies, and the goalie just shuts the door to the new goalie. It happens, but Montreal had 5 goals. They didn't need any more than that. My 3 Habs stars of this game. Third star. Sam Montembeault for that. I thought it was a really good game. I thought he made some really nice saves. He didn't, when they came back, well, I can't say that. I was going to say when they came back and scored 3, he kept his calm, but it was right at the end of the game, so maybe we don't really know that for sure. But he didn't give up another goal after that. He had a .917 save percentage. He got the win. It's his first win in a start for a while. He hasn't had a win. I read it. I don't remember what year it was. So, I mean, this is good. Montembeault, I thought, looked better than I was expecting him to look. Maybe this kid's not as bad as we think. Yeah, he's a backup. I'm not saying he's a starter, but, maybe he can help us out here a lot better than we think or thought going into these injuries here. Second star of the game for me, Artturi Lehkonen. He was also the official third star, I think, because Duchene had the second star. He had a goal and an assist. I thought he played well. He paid the price with that, whatever he got in the mouth. He was full of blood, and the refs just ignored it, and there should have been another penalty. Instead, he gets a holding penalty on that play. We're going to talk about it in a minute. And then the first star, Ryan Poehling, 2 goals in 37 seconds. And amongst that, the game-winning goal. Ryan Poehling just looking, really good out there. I'm going to talk about him in my positives for a minute. So let's get to that. My positives that I'm going to take away from this game. For Nick Suzuki, who has been in a bit of a slump, I think it's 4 or 5 games. He hasn't had a point. He had 72% in the face-off circle. That's good. At least he got something positive of his game. Hopefully he can build on that and start scoring again. He kind of can be streaky sometimes. So, he's in a bit of a slump. Let him go into a scoring streak. Usually when he does that, he's at sometimes 2 points a game, for a number of games. So he can make it back up. The team, by the way, was 57% overall in the face-off circle, but we knew that from earlier. Ryan Poehling was a positive. 2 goals, skating well, looking confident, finally looking ready for the NHL. If Ryan Poehling can keep this up, he's going to be a big help to this team in the future. Will he help them turn it around completely this year? I don't know that one player can do that anyway, but in the future, Ryan Poehling is going to be an important part of this team. He looks like he's NHL ready and going to stay here. The offense breaking out with 6 goals, that's a positive when they were usually getting 1, maybe 2. That's it. They had a good second period. They usually don't. Second period is a crapshoot with Montreal. They outshot the Preds 14-11. They scored 4 goals. And like I said, the Habs are bad in the second usually. And it's a big reason for so many losses is the second period letdown. They got a really strong first period, a totally crappy second period, and come back with an okay or even a good third period, and that's where they lose their games. If they do, and if they have a decent second period, they usually lose it in the third. They can't seem to lock down a win in a low-scoring game. Now I'll give you my negatives because I've got negatives. The PK gave up 2 of 3. The PK cannot be consistent. They've only had less than a handful of games where they've been good. The rest, they haven't been very good at all. So the PK, negative for sure. Defense still runs around like a chicken with their heads cut off, or like these. Subscribe and ring that notifications bell. And hey, give a thumbs up. Yeah, I love the Keystone Cops. But I don't like when the Habs look like them. That's not good ever. Habs scored 3+ goals and won. So now they're 5-0 when they score 3 or more goals. Why is that a negative? Okay, I see it as a negative because it highlights the fact that they can't win low-scoring games or close out low-scoring games that they're leading in. They just can't do that. And so by them doing this, to me, it shows the vast difference. And to me, it's a negative. The refs, again. The refs end up being horrible. I don't know how. They're just horrible, and this is what I think of the refs, my opinion. The refs and their biased, horrible reffing, every ref should be immediately fired and have to go through a vigorous reevaluation of their recent work, and I mean the last 3 to 4 seasons, and have to pass that reevaluation and then be interviewed again and evaluated by an independent panel of hockey experts before they're ever let back into an NHL arena to work again. Hey, refs, you aren't the reason we watch hockey. Fuck's sake. Sorry for swearing. That's my rant. Another negative, they took their foot off the pedal a bit in the third period. So, that was really the only part of the game where I thought that they really just didn't have it. The refs helped that with some bad calls, yes. They only had the 6 shots. It was really a good game. They were up by, 5 goals. They should have I wanted to see them really close this game out strongly. That's where a bit of a negative. They got to learn how to do that. Whether it's a low-scoring game or a high-scoring game, you got to close that out cleanly. All right, so these are some thoughts I had on this game. Not in any particular order, but just these are some of my thoughts on the game. Montreal continues to be a Jekyll and Hyde team. This is a great way to describe this team. They're mostly Mr. Hyde, but every now and then they're Dr. Jekyll, and they just continue to do this because here, a game they scored three goals or more, and they won. They just don't do that very often. So they dominate when they win, and it's true. In the games they won, they dominate those games. And when they lose, they suck. They literally suck. Now, not all the way through the game. Some of them they have all the way through, and some they have a good period to start, or even in the third, and they suck the rest of the way. So just very Jekyll and Hyde. There's no consistency. On Cole Caulfield, you know what? He's been okay for the last two games. Like, he's been okay, but to me, it's the same as before they sent him down. So he should have been left there a little longer in Laval. Let him dominate there before you bring him back up. I see exactly the same situation for him right now, this time again. It's the same. It can't be good for his confidence. He had 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. Those were his totals in 6 games in Laval. In my opinion, that wasn't good enough or long enough, and mostly long enough for him to be called back. But here we are anyway. He should have been left there to dominate down there and then be brought back up. I don't think 5 points in 6 games is dominating. I want to see a little better than that, and for a longer period of time. 6 games, no. So I'm worried still about Cole Caulfield and whether he can break out of his NHL slump. I don't see it happening. It looks exactly like before when they sent him down. Norlinder, he made a mistake. I don't remember what period. He made a mistake being sat after that, though, making a mistake. It's ludicrous to me. He will make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. He's a rookie. Benching him after, at this point, won't help him. So send him back to Sweden if that's how he's being developed here. This is not good for the kid to be. I can't make a mistake. I'm a rookie. We need guys like him, his style. We need that to work, not ruin this kid. Send him back to Sweden if they're going to do that to him. Give him the freedom to make a mistake and not worry about it. The third period was boring, I thought, until the refs got involved. It was kind of boring, and then the refs started calling penalties against Montreal. I got mad. We were starting to get mad, but the first penalty, the hooking call, was a legit call. Lecky going into the boards with someone and coming away with a mouthful of blood, the refs just ignore that and give Lecky a bullshit penalty for holding. If you look at the highlight of that, it's out there. But it's not in the package that they only show scoring. They don't show the penalties. And see a holding penalty, if you look at the highlight, you better go to the eye doctor soon because you need glasses. And I need glasses, and I didn't see a holding penalty there. Of the 3 penalties Montreal took in the third, and the Preds took none, yeah, sure they did. The hooking call on Toffoli was legit. The other 2 were bullshit in my opinion. The refs doing what they could to try to help the American team win and the Canadian team lose. It's getting more and more obvious every day. They can deny it. It's getting more and more obvious to me. Montreal held on and scored the insurance empty net goal. So the refs saw they couldn't save the Preds. So they stopped calling bullshit penalties and allowed it to play out for the final 90 seconds of the game. Yay! Thank you, refs. So with Michael Pezzetta being scratched, now, they had said he was being scratched. I saw him listed when the game started, and I saw him going out for the warm-up. And then they listed him as the 4th line. But I didn't see him on the ice. So he was a healthy scratch. Josh Anderson took up the enforcer mantle at the end of the second with a dominating victory over Preds' Matthew Olivier. Josh landed punch after punch and barely got touched. He's a beast in a fight, and I don't want to normally, promote fighting like this, but Montreal needs to stand up more for themselves. They need more of this kind of attitude and this kind of physical play. They just need more of it. So I'm okay with it this time because I think it's something they need. And Anderson answered the bell and he barely got touched. Watch it. He was swinging. He landed a few big punches, and he's just a beast out there. And he walks away with a smile usually on his face while he's arguing and yapping back. He was involved in some chippy stuff once the game was taken in that direction. And I say here by the Preds because they did, and the refs for allowing it and calling bullshit penalties. When you call bullshit penalties and guys get away with murder like that, well, guess what? The rest of the game, they figure, well, we can get away with murder, right? Or let's see, we're going to do it till we get called on it. And that's what goes on. They lose the games like that. In my opinion, you lose it. And yeah, what I said about the refs earlier, not a bad idea. In the offseason, fire them all and then hire them back after they've been reevaluated properly. And maybe that'll change how things are done with the refs. That's it. That's my review of the game last night, a 6-3. If that 3 goals didn't happen, it would have been a 6-0 shellacking of the Predators, but they got back in. It was a 6-3, nice victory, pretty dominating most of the game, and good to see. We needed that. And so the next game is against Washington. It's on a Wednesday, so usually we Tuesday and Thursday. This week it's Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, a little bit odd, so don't forget about that. I'll see you Wednesday for the game, like I said, against the Capitals. And till then, stay safe. Peace out. See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe and ring that notifications bell. And hey, give a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, check out that video over there.